Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Kepler College's open house. We are so glad that you've decided to join us today. We have some of our instructors here who will talk to you about the different certification programs, certificates that are available at the college. And I guess I should introduce myself and also introduce everybody else who is here. I'm Marie O'Neill, VP of Strategic Initiatives, and I am here to be the host of the open house today. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. We will definitely answer them for you here today. This particular open house will run for approximately an hour and a half. It won't go any longer than that. I promise you that. As I said, we have some of the instructors here who will talk to you. And we have Inga Arnold, we have Karen Macaulay, we have Carol Tebbs, we have Morgan Garrett, we have Lori Barnes, we have Cindy McMahon. Is it McCain? I'm sorry, I mispronounced your last name there, Cindy. My apologies. And we have Mary here. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Why would you want to choose Kepler College? This is one of the first questions that people do ask. We have small classes. Typically, the classes are no more than 33. We do not allow any more than 33 students in a class because we want to make sure that each person gets personal attention. The classes are in real time, meaning that they are recorded. Not recorded, they are live. They are, you have an instructor, so you can ask questions. You're there in person with the instructor. You get direct feedback on your assignment. So when you're in class, or even when you turn in an assignment, you are getting feedback and responses from the instructor who is teaching the class. Usually, or a lot of times, there are multiple instructors in a class, which makes it feel more intimate, which helps you to integrate the material that you are receiving from the class. You also, in these classes, you get to develop critical thinking skills because the instructors are not just going to teach by delivering information. They're going to teach by interaction, by asking you questions, by helping you to know that you know the material. You get to build your astrological practice here. We have classes to teach you about business, to teach you about how to set up your practice, how to set up an ethical practice, how to actually be a good counseling astrologer. All classes are recorded. And one of the reasons, well, there's a few reasons that all the classes are recorded. A couple of the reasons is our students are international. Some students are not able to attend the classes live because you may be in a time zone where you'd be asleep in the middle of the night. So the classes are recorded so that you can listen to the recording after the class. The classes are also recorded because most students are professionals out in the world, and there may be a class or two that you're not able to attend live. So they're recorded so that you can go back and listen to the classes. In addition to that, they're recorded because you could be in a class in real time and maybe have a question about something that was discussed. So you can go back and listen to the class and, get up to speed and anyway, so those are just some of the reasons that the classes are recorded. You have access to the classes for 3 years. That is a major deal to be able to go back and listen to a class after you've taken it. I mean, most students take copious notes in classes. And still, with those notes, there's always something that you need to clarify, something that you may have missed. You may be out there practicing and wonder about something that you learned in a class a few years earlier. So you can go back and listen to the class. Now, it is a not-for-profit school. What does that mean? It means that we are here to serve you. We are here not to make a profit, but to make sure that you get the quality, the high quality education and instructions that you need. That is a big deal. This is a list of some of the instructors that we have. And as you can see, it's a montage of high quality, highly educated, highly trained astrologers. And as you can see from the faces, everyone on this picture is passionate about astrology. They're passionate about teaching. They're passionate about what it is they do, which means they're going to be passionate about teaching you and making sure that you have everything that you need to be a professional astrologer. We have a few certificates. The first one is the fundamental certificate. And in this particular certificate, you have 80 hours of live instruction to get this certificate. There's 4 classes available here. Carol, would you like to go through or talk about the fundamental certificate for people who are here to just give them a bit of information? Are you on mute, Carol? I think she's on mute.
I'd be happy to do it.
Oh, you'd be happy to do it? Okay, Morgan, go right ahead.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone here today. We have so many attendees. That's wonderful. My name is Morgan Garriott. I am an instructor at Kepler, and I am also the fundamentals coordinator for the program. For your fundamentals, this is where most students, especially very new beginners, are going to enter their astrological education. And we have a very solid program for this to help you develop a foundation for your astrological knowledge and skills. RN 101 is where most people will enter. Now, even though this is for a beginning class, for beginners, we also have astrologers who have maybe taken some study on their own or have, taken some advanced classes that actually come back to our fundamentals, either to acquire their diploma through KeplerCollege or to fill in any gaps that they may have found in their astrological education. So most of the students will start in RN 101, which is our Fundamentals Introduction to Astrology. You are going to learn all of the basics, your glyphs, your planets, the signs, what the signs are made of, your polarity, your element, your mode of the signs. You will learn your foundational energy that's present in the chart, how we break the chart up into quadrants and hemispheres. Also, the astrological houses. Where are things taking place in the life of the native? You will also learn dispositor patterns, the Ptolemaic aspects, and how to put it all together and start forming a delineation and interpretation of that information. Our RN 102, or Fundamentals Interpretation Essentials, is going to take you into a little bit deeper dive into some of those basics. Here, you're going to start learning about your essential and accidental dignities and abilities, where the planets take their joy in what houses. You'll learn about triplicity and bonds, other types of rulership. that's available. Planetary speeds, your retrogrades, your house interceptions. You'll also learn about the different house systems. There are quite a lot of them that we use. We do use whole sign throughout the fundamentals program, but we will give you an introduction into some other house systems that you may be aware of, such as Placidus, the Alcabitius system. There's just so many that we do start to give you an overview of that. You'll also learn chart patterns, your lunar phases and how they affect the native, and also get into a talk about the nodes, the pair of nodes, the north and south, and where the bendings fall, or the midpoints, planets at the midpoints in the chart. Moving on to 103, you go beyond the basics where you're learning some more advanced techniques. You will get into aversions, the harmonics of the aspects, your temperament, derivative houses, or how can we look at the native's chart to say something about someone else maybe in their life, their brother, their sister, their spouse, etc. You'll also start bringing in your minor bodies, your asteroids, your centaurs, and the dwarf planets. Also, you'll have an introduction to fixed stars and how they can play out in the chart. Then, when you have gone through 101 to 103, you'll actually move into the fundamentals, which is our natal chart practicum, and I am the instructor for this. What we do is we look at how to structure and approach the chart, how we start to synthesize the chart as a whole, bringing in everything that you've learned from 101 to 103. You're going to get into more ethics, your prioritization of aspects. What are challenging placements in the chart? The whole overall chart theme, common topics, bringing your personal narrative, what you bring on your plate into the consultation. Also, challenging clients, and you will have some actual time to do some readings for each other. And we're going to take those readings a little further and actually turn them into a consultation. So you're not just reading to the client, you're having an actual conversation with them. These are videotaped, only available for the class. And you will also have a chance to bring in a friend, family member, even someone off the street to do a reading for. This really prepares you to go out in the world and maybe even hang a shingle and start your professional astrology career doing natal readings. So it's really great to see everyone here. The fundamentals program is very solid, and it is the stepping stone, one of the stepping stones in the diploma program, and will get you ready to enter into the predictive certificate. So thank you.
Oh my
And
goodness,
kind of the
thank you.
predictive certificate. But Morgan, how many weeks are the fundamentals?
So the fundamentals, each class is 10 weeks for 10 hours or 10 credits, we could say, each. And there's 4 of them. And once you have completed all of them, then you do get the foundation fundamental certificate.
Which is perfect. And the prediction certificate, which is 60 hours of live instructions. Who would like to talk about the prediction certificate?
Me.
Yes,
That's
Carol.
me.
Carol.
Yes, prediction. Now this is forecasting, looking ahead. Once you have your foundation and fundamentals, it starts out with transits. Transits are fundamental, and so we've put that always. That's the first class of prediction that you should take. And then following that, we have other 5, all of these are 5-week classes. So in a term of 10 weeks, you can take 2 prediction classes. And generally, the second one we suggest that what students take is the solar arc, or the progressions of how the planets move to activate. Basically, the chart, the birth chart, is static. That is there forever. Movement, or the predictive movements, are the planets moving, activating different planets in the natal chart. That they bring the message, and the planet in the natal chart reacts. So there's zodiacal reason. I can hardly speak here. Releasing, solar returns, moon, all of the phases of the moon, horary, elective, mundane astrology, um, rectification, which if you not uh, know that thing, that there are some people who have no birth time or they don't have a correct birth time. So we have all of those advanced classes. Hope you can join us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Carol. All right. Now, let's move on to what you need to get the Kepler Professional Diploma in Astrology, which is one of the degrees that we offer. And who would like to talk about the diploma, the professional diploma in astrology, KPDA, which is the letters for that? Yes.
You can do that.
All right. So to get the diploma, that's 260 hours of live instruction. And as you can see there, you have the fundamental certificate, which you must have, the prediction certificate that Carol just talked about. There's chart calculation, astrological history, astronomy for astrologers, consulting and counseling, and there's electives that you need, which is 30 hours. And so you must, of course, have a demonstration of learning. This means researching, crafting, and communicating your findings. Plus, there's one masterclass that you need for this. Now, there is also a Kepler Advanced Professional Diploma in Astrology that you can achieve, which is fantastic. And to get this particular diploma, the Advanced Diploma, you would need to have the Kepler Professional Diploma in Astrology. That is a prerequisite. In addition to that, you need, of course, 120 hours of live instruction. And we have horary astrology, essential dignities, mundane astrology, electives from the professional development. You have rectification or natal practicum, and you also have research. This would be 60 hours of live instruction in a concentrated study from one of the following certificates: counseling and relationships, professional development, astro mapping, alternative traditions, astrological heritage, astrology of healing. And we have today, Cindy is the coordinator for the astro mapping certification. Cindy, would you like to speak a little bit about the astro mapping?
We have the most comprehensive and thorough astro mapping program on this planet with no exaggeration. We offer 40 weeks of teaching for the certificate, but we have over 55 weeks of instruction. In other words, we have different electives that you could choose from, and you can even go a little bit outside of the astro mapping that does apply to things like astro mapping, such as the houses or astronomy for astrologers, some of the business courses. And we have wonderful faculty on board that really know their astro mapping inside and out, a super loyal student body, and they help each other out, and a wonderful community on the WhatsApp group. where again, they're helping each other out and coordinating events and really getting along. It's a unique certificate in Kepler College.
Love it. Thank you, Cindy. As you can see, we have quite a few certificates available. Would anyone else like to talk about the one of these certificates other than astro mapping that Cindy just talked about? No? Well,
I can talk about the Hellenistic one if no one
all
else
right,
has one right
please
now.
do.
Yeah, so there are two different. I'm Gray Crawford, and I'm involved with the Hellenistic certificates. There's two different ones. So this is focusing on the ancient texts and lineage of Hellenistic astrology, which in recent decades has been basically resurrected with all of this new information coming in about the history of astrology and all sorts of new techniques. And there's two different certificates because the first one is on Hellenistic natal astrology, which is really important to understand in order to fully engage with the various Hellenistic timing techniques, which are the second certificate. So there are kind of a combination of two certificates you can gain. And unless you've already studied and understand Hellenistic natal astrology really thoroughly, it's definitely recommended to complete that certificate before going into the Hellenistic timing techniques. I teach zodiacal releasing, which is one of the Hellenistic timing techniques that's involved in that certificate. And I've often had people come into that course who don't have a big background in Hellenistic natal astrology. And I am always able to work with those people and help get them up to speed. But to fully work with all of it, you really do want to have that comprehensive natal astrology understanding because there are some differences and nuances about Hellenistic astrology that's important to understand and have a way to work with that to then work with the timing techniques. One of the things that sets our program apart from other ones that are out there is that we do have a diverse faculty. A lot of the Hellenistic astrology programs out there right now are run by like one particular teacher who then has a bunch of teaching assistants. And so we do give you a bunch of different perspectives with different teachers that you get to learn from. At the same time, we do have a lot of coherence amongst our faculty because we're all people that are in communication with one another, and we all have pretty much, I think everybody has a background of having been either certified or spent a long time studying with Demetra George, because everybody does have their own sort of perspective on Hellenistic astrology. So this is a really good certificate program for you if you're interested in learning some of these older techniques. And it's a really exciting time because one of the most exciting things about astrology in the recent time period has been all of this old material coming forward again. And there's ways that it really revivifies the field of astrology. And it's all about finding out how to work with these old techniques and old philosophies and cosmologies, but then apply them into modern contemporary life. And although there's a bunch of understanding that's already been done with this, we're honestly still at the point of actually understanding what all this means and still working with the translations, and things can change with how these different things are translated. So by joining this program, you also get to be part of that exciting tradition and thing that's happening right now of figuring out how these techniques work and how they apply to modern life. And they're really helpful because I would say one of the things that's helpful about them is that you can still look at a chart from a psychological perspective and everything like that when you're working with Hellenistic astrology. But it does a lot of the techniques are really helpful for giving really practical, concrete answers to different questions that people have about their life. And so with the Hellenistic natal astrology, there are there's five actually fundamental classes you have to take, and then there are some options for additional electives. And then in the Hellenistic Timing Techniques certificate, there are, right now, we don't really have electives. There just are a set of timing techniques that you can take to get that certificate, and then you'll take the practicum. Down the line, we'll probably have some additional ones that come in that would give you more options. But right now, I don't actually know of another Hellenistic astrology program out there that has all of the Hellenistic timing techniques that we offer. So to my knowledge, it's really the most thorough program in that way. And one of the things that's really different about Hellenistic timing techniques is that there's this whole concept of these sort of time lords and different parts of the chart getting activated at different times and different planets coming in at different times. And there's multiple of these techniques. If you're familiar with like Jyotish and like the Dasha system, it's somewhat similar, but there's a whole array of these different systems, and they're really powerful to use. If you already use things like secondary progressions or tertiary or minor progressions or any of those other kind of predictive techniques, I use those too, and they're really helpful. But this gives you a whole nother range of ways to look at the chart that is really unique. And so I just encourage you to look more into it and building up to that too. So if you don't have that Hellenistic natal astrology background, you really want to go through that first before you jump into all of these timing technique courses.
Thank you, Gray. Thank you. All right. So, of course, we have Cindy just talked about, of course, the Astro mapping certificate. Cindy, is there anything you want to add to what you've said?
Yes, two people asked questions in the Q&A, so I just wanted to address it here.
All right.
So Carol Alaman was asking, she'd like to know if KeplerCollege guides or shows how to use Astro mapping software. And we do have a bunch of tutorials that you could watch on your own. And those videos are built into each program, each class that you take. However, if you really, really want to know it, the best thing to do is to reach out to those companies with the specific questions. And Nasser Alubadi was asking about the power of prime directions in astrology. And although that's not technically astro mapping, it does overlap a little bit. That's the course by Anthony Lewis. And we'll put the link in the chat, essentially, of when we have our course offerings. Just go and follow it up there, or sign up for the KeplerCollege newsletter so you could get the latest information. I think he just finished that course. And that's what I would like to say for now, but we have amazing teachers. I'd have to underline it again, and amazing students there too.
Yeah, Anthony's class is only offered once a year, so if you missed it this winter, you'll have to wait till next winter.
Perfect. Hi, Donna. Hi. Donna Young is our president. Donna, would you like to say a few words before we continue?
I'll say a few words later.
Okay. All right. And we, of course, talked about, we have the Hellenistic natal certificate. And would anyone like to add to this or talk about the Hellenistic natal certificate? This is, of course, where you.
Unless there's any questions based upon what I already
just said. You just already said anything. I said, okay,
yes.
Perfect. And you talked about the timing techniques. All right, medieval certificate. This is a wonderful certificate. Who would like to lead us on the medieval certificate?
Do you want to talk about that one, Tamara, or should I?
I mean, I can. It's so this one is run by Shu Yap, and she actually does a lot of solar returns and the movement certificate as well. So she's in the development of this. She's got some incredible teachers from around the world that actually are instructing in this medieval certificate. So it's leading edge again. I don't think anyone has such a comprehensive medieval certificate out there, and it is in development. So, as things, as she gets more and more instructors in, I know she's got 2 fall classes that will be coming in. That's really exciting as well. So she's got lots of teachers from around the world, which we love to see at the top of their field, teaching in this program, as well as Shu as well. And she's an incredible teacher. So we're really excited about the development of this certificate.
Thank you. Thanks, Tamara. All right. Now we have, of course, additional certificate programs, the counseling and relationship, professional development, alternative traditions, astrological heritage, astrology of healing, Uranian astrology. Would anyone here on the panel like to talk about any of these additional certificate programs?
I can talk about professional development.
Please.
Okay, I'm Lori Barnes. I'm the marketing director at Kepler College, and I also have the pleasure of being the certificate coordinator for professional development. We have many classes to help you develop professionally, hence the name. So we have the typical classes you would expect: business, marketing, branding, and we have the consulting class as part of it as well. And it's growing. So we have a speaking class, we have writing class, we have a very niche class on working with grief charts. We expect to have some new classes coming on board. I just talked to someone about somatic experiencing for the astrologer to kind of help you work with clients. So I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple of classes. Oh, Marie has the storytelling class. Marie has the life coaching class. So you can check it out. We have, I think, 45 available credits for the certificate. And if you want the certificate, it's a 40 credit certificate, and we will continue to grow that. But the whole point of it is to help you develop professionally. So if you're coming in to learn astrology because someday you want to be a professional astrologer, which means that you make your living from astrology, this certificate is specifically for that, to help you develop, help you market your business, to help you have the correct business structure, and to support you as you do your work.
Perfect. And we also have in the works a Vedic astrology certificate program and evolutionary astrology certificate program, which is fantastic. Would
Minga, do you want to talk about history, the heritage?
Yes.
one? You're muted.
Thank you. Do we have a slide on that as well? Or should I just speak about it here? Because we have, there are several courses in that, and it's just about the fact that astrology happens in cultures, and knowing about the cultures, we cover several different phases of history. There are several courses of history. There's mythology component in this. There's astrology and the soul. There's astrology and literature. There's wonderful courses in this heritage certificate. And I just really enjoy all the courses in this. And I think we have a slide that shows all of them, and they're all really neat.
Perfect. Thank you, Inga.
You're right, we normally do, but for some reason it got cut out, Inga, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we also we've started doing master classes, and let's go through that.
I can speak to that if you'd like, Marie.
Yes, please.
So we did all master classes. They are courses that are shorter than 5 weeks. So you'll see that most of the courses at Kepler College are 5 weeks, but we wanted to have an alternative amount of weeks for classes that don't necessarily need 5 weeks. So that's what our master classes are. They're either 1, 2, or 3 weeks. You can see the list here of the ones that we have available now. They operate very similar to a regular 5 or 10 week course, with the difference being that they're not 5 weeks. And we actually run 2.5 hours instead of 2-hour courses, because we wanted to make sure that there was an extra half an hour for feedback and for discussion. Since it's a shorter course, we do have them running just a little bit longer. So those are master classes, and we do have them on the same term page as you find your 5 and 10 week classes. So if you're looking for a master class, you can go look at the term and you'll see if it's a master class in that listing.
Thank you, Lori. Oops, I just skipped over a chart. And so you can audit classes or you can do self-study. If you audit a class, that means that you, of course, don't have to take the test. You're going to be there to gather the information. It's always nice if you can participate in class discussions and things like that, but you are auditing. You can also go through and do self-study. Is there anyone here who would like to talk more about auditing courses and self-study?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
So audit courses, anybody can sign up for any course at any time. But if you're just interested in gaining the knowledge and not necessarily interested in getting a certificate, you can sign up for any of the courses as an audit student. So in which case you still have to pay, but you just don't have to do any of the assignments. So just to make it clear that you're welcome to take any of our classes at any time, provided you have the required prerequisites, you are welcome to attend. And the self-study, we've got a few courses that are pre-recorded that you can take and learn at your own pace. Not a lot of them. Certainly our live classes are the more popular format. But there are some that you could learn at your own pace and get credit for that. And this ties into, I think, some of a question that I saw in the chat. It wasn't in the Q&A, but about things that you can test out of. So if you are able to self-study, you can eventually test out of an exam, or if you think you already have the required knowledge, you can test out of at least 2 courses. This is the Fundamentals 101 and the 102, 3 courses, chart calculation as well, you can test out of. So you can do that through self-study or with having knowledge that you've gained elsewhere.
Perfect. Thank you, Donna. And this is where I don't know if Donna mentioned this, you can take the free quiz to see what level you are. What is your education or your knowledge level with astrology? Are you a novice? Are you a low beginner? Are you a high beginner? I mean, if you're a novice, it says I am precedent in reading, writing, and speaking the English language. I think most of us can do that.
These are just people that are coming in brand new.
They're brand new. And you want to learn the fundamentals of astrology. And so one of the reasons that we have this here is because each of the classes have a level of knowledge that you need to take that class. And so it will list whether it is, low beginner, novice, high beginner, whether you're low, what level of astrology you need to be at before taking that course. But it also, this free quiz, it really helps you figure out where to jump in. Now, some of the courses are required, as Donna was saying, but you can also test out of some of them. And so this is good. This is good to know. Donna, would you like to add anything to this, or?
No, this is important. I mean, if you're following along the path and getting your certificate, and somebody had asked this question in the chat too, if you're working towards your diploma at Kepler College, you're normally following along a path where you're starting with fundamentals and then moving on to some of the other classes. If you're following along the path, it's not so necessary that you worry about this. But if there are, once you start taking your electives, if there are some classes that you want to take, you just need to be aware of whether you have the required prerequisites, or if you're not taking your diploma, but you're working toward a particular certificate, you want to make sure that you have the knowledge required before you walk into that class.
Absolutely.
And there was another question in the chat that I noticed about whether you could take classes at both levels. I mean, it's not required. It's not recommended that you take beginner classes and advanced classes at the same time, unless you already have a solid foundation. So use that model to see whether you have the required prerequisites. People usually do better if they follow along at the fundamentals and then move on from there.
Perfect. And Donna, would you like to talk about the Kepler College Planning Board?
Yeah, I think Mary popped a link to this in the chat. And for those of you who are wondering when a class is going to be offered again, this is something that is very helpful in terms of your planning. So if you want to chart out the path, the journey that you're going to be taking, this is where you're going to find all of the classes. Subject to change, there's always going to be changes, instructors who aren't available on any given term, but this is the plan at least. So it's a good starting place.
Perfect. All right. And of course, you can test your astrological knowledge. You know, we have a free course here, the Sabian Mathematics, or Babylonian Mathematics. Where did I get Sabian? Babylonian Mathematics. You can take the quiz. You know, we have a free course for Introduction to Astrology for you. And, you know, as you can see, Kepler College is extremely focused on you, the student. We want to make sure that you have everything you need to be a professional astrologer. Not just a professional astrologer, but a qualified professional astrologer. So,
yeah, for sure.
All right, now, spring. It's spring in some places around the country, but not others. But we have the spring term. Let's talk about what is coming up. We have spring term courses here. Donna, of course, and Callum teach we have Fundamentals 1. We have 2 Fundamentals 1 courses, and one begins on April 5th and one begins on April 6th. Donna, do you want to talk a little bit about Fundamentals 1 and what that is?
Yeah, Fundamentals 1 is really just the foundations. It's 10 weeks of learning planets, signs, houses, and aspects. And basically, there's a few other things that we're learning in there as well, but really, really, really grounding you in those foundations. And we do find that even if you have studied astrology before, sometimes learning this, you know, from us before you move on to some of these other classes can be helpful. But we certainly don't want people to come into that class who are really, really well-grounded in how we're studying those topics. So certainly, you know, we encourage you to take the quiz. And if you think you want to test out, do that and move on to the next term. But for those of you who are more beginner or perhaps who have never studied any type of traditional astrology, this might be a good place for you to start.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Fundamentals 2, Interpretation Essentials. Donna, do you want to?
Yeah, and so we expand in Fundamentals 2, we're expanding on what you've learned in 101, and now you're learning a whole bunch of planetary condition. You're learning more essential dignity and debility and sect and chart patterns and different things that are going to add to your interpretation.
Mhm.
So
And then Shu Yap does Fundamentals 3, and that's also being offered. But you need to have taken the Fundamentals 1 and 2 or test it out
exactly.
before you can enter into Fundamentals 3. And that's, of course, beyond the basics. So, Donna, what does Shu teach in that?
Now that one, what are all the topics? Morgan, you might want to help me out.
Morgan, hop in.
Oh, absolutely. We kind of went over them before, but we're looking at your introduction to harmonics. You're taking a deeper dive, looking at the vertex, the anti-vertex. You're getting into declination here. Your minor bodies, your asteroids, your dwarfs, fixed stars, and what's planetary meaning when it's conjunct a fixed star. Your decans and dwads. You're also identifying the Almutin. We are getting into the nautical paradigm with the helmsman. Which planet is steering your ship? Do you have the winds to sail the seas? And do you know what direction you're going? Or do you also have someone that can take over that helm for you? So it's a much deeper dive where you're getting into more advanced natal subjects in Shu's class.
And then your class is Fundamentals 4. Do you want to just do a little recap of what you mentioned there?
Absolutely. So in Fundamentals 4, you're taking all the knowledge that you've learned from your Fundamentals 1 through Fundamentals 3, and you're actually putting to use. Now, this is a practicum class, and you do actually do video recordings with other students in the class, and you have a chance to bring in a friend, a family member, someone from the street even, and do an actual reading for them. And we're not just doing readings, we're actually learning some about the ethics of astrology. And we're getting more into consulting skills where you don't read to the client, you're actually having a conversation with the client. So it's a really great step to get you started in your astrological career. Once you complete Fundamentals 4, you do gain the Fundamental Certificate, can hang out your own shingle and start your own business. We do go a bit into some of the best business practices also for starting out.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, we also have the spring term, we've got applied rectification, astrological heritage. Inga teaches the astrological heritage, Rome to the Renaissance. We have transits being taught by Celeste Brooks. There's progressions and solar arcs. We have, of course, fundamentals of life coaching for astrologers, which I teach. And we have, the astrological house divisions. Would anyone like to talk about, Carol, would you talk about applied rectification?
Yeah, there are two 5-week classes on rectification. The 301, the one that's showing here in spring, is for birth time that is needs work within from 0 to 6 hours. In the summer term, it's another separate class that is for the 24-hour search for somebody who really, mom doesn't even have a birth time that we know, and they want to find it out. So we can make it work.
Perfect. Thank you. Inga, would you like to talk about the astrological heritage?
Yes, this is the second course of the 3 courses that cover the historical period of, prehistory all the way up to modern. And so this is the second, and it covers Rome to the Renaissance, obviously, and covers all of the major cultural changes that happened and how astrology changes during those times, and takes you kind of through the whole period of how thinking changes and how culture changes and how astrology changes along with them.
Inga?
Yes.
Add that people who are beginners can start here.
Oh, absolutely. This is a great place to start.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Would
Carol.
anyone like to talk about the transits or the progressions and solar arcs? The instructors for those are not here.
That's Carol's
Yeah.
certificate.
That's Carol's
Yes.
certificate?
Well,
Yes.
absolutely. And it's forecasting. It's looking to the future after you know the natal chart well. And so transits and progressions are the basic ones. They're only twice a year. Actually, those could be done every term, but so you start with transits and then progressions, and then you have several, I've forgotten how many, is it 40 weeks? You still have several other classes to finish the certificate.
Perfect. Wonderful. And with the fundamentals of life coaching for astrologers, that is a class that I teach. I am a certified life coach, and I combine life coaching with astrology. In this 5-week course, it's a beginning course to have the astrologer start to learn coaching skills, which are different than the astrological skills that you develop. Being able to add coaching to your practice helps you to increase your income. It helps you to help the client long after you've done their astrology chart. You will continue to work with the client and on an ongoing basis, of course, to help them resolve issues that you have found or that they have found in the chart. We also have astrological house divisions. This is and the symbolism of the celestial circle there.
Marie, I just want to do a plug for Reese here on this certificate, or I'm sorry, on
Perfect.
this course.
Perfect.
It is an excellent course, and I think that in this day and age when we have so many choices of house systems, we no longer just use the house system our instructor or teacher use. We explore them all because the software allows us to do that. And Reese really digs down into the math behind the madness. What calculation, what big, great circles are they using to calculate these house systems, and why? And if you're going to use more than one house system, and I think that if you're traveling through the Kepler diploma and certificates, I think it's important to have a little background on the different house systems and how they apply. And Reese is an incredible instructor. He's got lots of history behind him in the house systems and really, really does a great job. So if you have any inclination about why am I using this house system, you have to check out Reese's class. It's really, really incredible.
Perfect. Thank you, Tamara. All right.
We have some people interested in your course in the chat, Marie.
Oh, see, I have not even been listening to the chat. Well, you don't listen to it, you read it. But would someone tell me what people are asking? Because
just that they're interested.
They're interested. Perfect.
And I don't know if you want to say more about it.
Well, with life coaching, life coaching is really all about the question. In astrology, people come to us because we're expert at looking at the chart and seeing patterns. We know the archetypes, and we can talk to people about what's going on in their life right now, or giving them the why and helping them to resolve it. With coaching, it's a little different because what you're doing is making sure that the client is a participant in their own life. We're not telling them what to do. We're asking them questions so that they can get their aha moment, so that they can figure out, oh, this is what's going on with me, and how do I resolve it? And so you ask questions all the time, bringing them into into the conversation, because you want to empower the client. You don't want to disempower them. And I find as a life coach, when I've done their astrology reading, and I also coach in the astrology reading, so the class is designed for people who either know nothing about astrology because you don't have to use astrology, but this class is specifically for astrologers, but you don't need to be versed in astrology to actually take the class. So you can be a beginner. It's helping you to look at the chart and change your focus from telling a client what's going on with them to having them inform you, and you adding adjectives and information to what it is they are saying. It's 5 weeks. It's a lot of fun. You get to coach the client or your peers in class. And we just said we have a lot of fun, and you will learn about coaching. It's the beginning course for coaching. And then there is a summer course on setting up your business as I call it an Astro coach, because you would be both an astrologer and a coach. All right. So let's move on to the geodetics. We have a geodetics masterclass. We have astro mapping for beginners. Would anyone here, Cindy, you have astro mapping for beginners coming up. You and Lori have applied astro psychology for astro mapping, and also astro mapping business.
Lori, would you like to go first?
Lori? Yeah. Is Lori still here?
Oh, she had to leave to teach a class.
Yes, she did.
All right. Well, I'll talk a little bit about her applied astropsychology for astro mapping, and I believe that begins on May 9th. And what it is if you would like to improve your counseling skills with your clients, or if you would like to get a little bit more in depth with a way of approaching the charts and the maps, this is going to be a really excellent course. It is for beginners as well, not super beginners, although Lori is really good at accommodating that. So I would still encourage you to join. We have our little rock star with us, maybe not so little, but Ariel Gutman, who's going to be doing the geodetics, and that is the mundane interpretation of the astro maps. It's really fascinating. She's going to be doing it for 2 weeks this year. Next year, we're going to expand it into 5 weeks. And for those of you who have already finished all the natal parts of the astro mapping, and I highly encourage you to take transits and progressions course through KeplerCollege's regular chart interpretations and movement area, the CCG, cyclocartography, the astro mapping transits and progressions with Kanan Yassin is going to be the place to do it. And astro mapping for business. Lori and I co-teach that course. What's really fun about it, it's a master class, so it's 2.5 hours each for 3 weeks. The fun thing about it is sometimes we play devil's advocate to each other. She really is great at speaking about the marketing, and I'm great at speaking about the business side of how to do astro mapping. And then last but not least, of course, the astro mapping for beginners, which I would say is maybe a little bit misleading with the title. We're probably going to be changing it up a little bit, but it is so foundational and so helpful. So a lot of people that come in believing that they have a really good amount of knowledge, it still helps if you take it, especially with the remote activation, which no other school in the world offers. Thank you.
All right. Perfect.
I think that there's a question in the chat that is fundamentals required for astro mapping for beginners.
No, it certainly helps. I think once you get to astro mapping, you actually have a clue about what the signs are and what the planets are. And if you could just start from there, you could jump on board and then later on take fundamentals if you want, but not necessary.
Thank you. Thanks, Donna, too. Thank you. All right. Now, this is the Medieval Astrology Certificate. There are 2 courses being offered here. Tamara, would you like to, or are you able to speak about these 2 courses?
Sorry, not in depth, but certainly that again, Shu Yap is an incredible teacher, and medieval is, even though it seems to be similar to Hellenistic, it has a lot of differences from Hellenistic. So it is its own exciting certificate, and this medieval essentials really help you with all the rest of the medieval courses that she has planned. So it's really going to give you those foundations of why is medieval different? What is so exciting about it? Why are they, again, like in Hellenistic, more texts are being converted into English so that in other languages, so that we can, dive into what they were doing back then. And they were doing pretty incredible work in astrology during the medieval times. So it is an exciting certificate. I hope that, everyone signs up to that medieval essentials one.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. All right. Now, we also have Astrology of Healing Certificate. And who would
somebody
like
was
to talk about
somebody
that?
was asking about that in the chat as well. So the Astrology of Healing Certificate is, well, we don't like to call it medical astrology because we don't want to be confused with these are everybody in this certificate is a doctor, a medical doctor, but essentially those are the types of things that you're learning. So this term we are being offered with Lee Lehman, who's really the master of this class, of this whole certificate. Traditional disease tendencies in medical astrology. That's an advanced course. So of course you'd need to have taken some of the other courses in that certificate to take that one. Astrology and Nutrition with Kira Sutherland, very popular course, low intermediate. So anybody with a foundational knowledge of astrology would be able to take that one. And the Astrology of Healing Certificate in general is anyone who's interested in the health field. Of course, that would have some appeal, or anybody who's interested in going down that road. There's lots to be learned. I mean, back in the day, you couldn't be a doctor without having an understanding of astrology. So this steps into those more traditional techniques that they were using then, and not for you to be a doctor, but if you are practicing in the medical field already, these can be helpful. And even without, just to learn some of these techniques is really fascinating. Mary's popped a link in the chat for anybody who's interested.
I need to leave. Wonderful to meet everyone.
Thanks, wonderful. Thank you, Inga.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Inga.
All right. Now we have the Hellenistic Natal and Timing Technique certificates. Gray, would you like to talk about these two courses?
Yeah, I would love to. So anybody interested in Hellenistic astrology, this would be the spring is a time to get going with it and be in Amy Angelo's course, which is the introductory course, which is going to give you everything you need to get started. And then you can start moving through the sequence of Neo-Hellenistic astrology courses at that point. So it's in addition, if you're already familiar with astrology, again, there are just some differences and things to understand about the whole Hellenistic astrology system, including, for example, if you haven't used whole sign house systems before. And that Amy's course is just going to give you the introduction into all the really main foundational principles that you need to know. And then you move on from there into understanding more about how planets are assessed with their meaning and so forth. If you're not familiar with Amy, she's a very accomplished astrologer. And what I really like about Amy too is not only does she have a lot of book knowledge, she previously went on like a tour of ancient Greece sites with Demetra George, and this past winter, she and another one of our faculty, Cameron Cassidy, sort of paid it back by organizing a tour to Egypt that Demetra went on. And I myself have also gone on pilgrimage to Greece and taking people there to sites. And there's something just really cool about people that not only are doing the books, but actually going to the land and the places where all of this was actually taking shape for that sort of deeper understanding. Actually, Nadia, the other person teaching this course, was actually on both of those exact same trips that I was just mentioning that Amy went on as well. Nadia has a really great background as well. And circumambulations of the bounds, it's kind of a mouthful. Somebody asked earlier about primary directions that Anthony Lewis is teaching. So that is essentially, it's not the exact same thing, but it's basically the same idea of what became primary directions. Circumambulation to the bounds, if you're familiar with like Abu Mashar and distributions, it's also basically the same thing, but there are nuances about where this all came from in the Hellenistic era. But it's a timing technique, and you're basically tracking like a human lifetime could be like so many hours after the birth, and how the chart is essentially moving in those hours after birth. So it's somewhat similar to secondary progressions with this idea of like day for a year, but we are sort of setting the chart in motion. And then you're also tracking where, depending on what you're moving from, let's just say the ascendant, you're sort of tracking how the chart is turning through different bounds or terms, if you're familiar with those divisions in astrology. So whatever planet is ruling that bound that it's moving through becomes an important sort of author or active planet in that time period. And then also if where it's moving is forming an aspect to another planet in your chart, that planet's also going to come on. And so it's a technique that basically divides the chart up into these sort of chapters. And it's really, I mean, when you look back at a lot of these authors, it's the thing everybody was using back in the day, and it's one of those techniques that you don't see taught. I had actually never seen somebody teaching it before Nadia started teaching this last year in a formal course, and it's a technique we're still learning more about and digging into all the translations, and Nadia is very active in that work, and so it's a great course. In fact, she was in Anthony's course, and Anthony was in her course, Anthony Lewis, who teaches primary direction, just so they could also get a feel for how some of the nuances and differences. So anyway, these are great courses to get involved with. So I encourage you to look into it more if you're interested.
Thank you, Gray. Oops, we moved on. Let's see. Yes. We have 3 master classes this spring. And as a matter of fact, Lori Barnes and I will be teaching the Astrology Meets Branding tomorrow morning. It's 8 a.m., I believe, Pacific time. And here you're going to learn about, as an astrologer, how you craft your bio page, how you craft your About Me page, because there's a specific ways that you can help market yourself, of course, through your bio page and your About Me page. It's a masterclass. It's only 1 week. We teach it once a year. We taught it the first time at the symposium last September in New York. It was a hit, so we brought it back. So we look forward to seeing you there tomorrow if you choose to come to that class. I also am teaching, as I said, the life coaching class for astrologers. That class begins on April, I believe it is, that's the summer class, I'm sorry. The storytelling class, I was looking at the wrong screen. The storytelling class is being offered this summer, and it's a wonderful class. You do not have to be extremely versed in astrology. One of the hats that I've worn in the past is that of as an actor. I love acting. I love the stage. I love storytelling. And in my belief system, to be a better astrologer, you really do need to be able to tell story. And I'm not talking about the myths or, or the archetypes per se, but weaving the transits, weaving the progressions, weaving them into a story, even a modern story that will fit what the client is going through now. Because we know all of us began with not being able to read and write. Our ancestors used story to pass down what was going on with the lineage. And so it's in our DNA. It is a mapping system that is within us. So I teach a 5-week, it's a 5-week class, or a 3-week, I'm sorry, not 5-week, it's 3-week master class on storytelling. And you get to create your own story. So hopefully you're there. There is also death charts. And who would like to talk about this particular masterclass that is being talked? Is there anyone here who can talk about that?
I think Lori's left.
Lori's left.
But,
well, death charts.
It's a really interesting topic that Moon specializes in. So just helping people to deal with deaths that they might be experiencing in their life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of classes that I wanted to talk about that we don't have on these slides, but that are important and important to the diploma. And one of them is our consulting classes. And I know Karen is here. Karen is still here who can talk about that class. And it is a requirement. There's a couple of classes that are options, but certainly that is one of them. Karen, are you here and can talk about that?
I'm here, but I'm not looking very well, so I'm not going to show my face.
That's okay.
The counseling classes, there's a whole bunch of them actually. The basic counseling class, which is 10 weeks, covers things from basic communication skills to issues that come up in interactions with other people. Your own personal perceptions and prejudices are considered. So it's basically a class in opening means to dialogue with people. Very much similar to what was talked about earlier in the coaching classes. Very similar topics are covered, but probably a little longer and more extensively. There are, other than the basic 10-week class, there are many different classes such as working with comparisons, composites. So when you're going to compare the charts of two people, and probably one of the most common questions that we as astrologers get has to do with, how's my relationship with X going to end? How is he going to ask me to marry him? What's going to happen? So interactive classes relative to relationships are what is involved with the other, which are all 5-week classes. I don't know if that's enough for you, but that's the basics. So it's really about the kind of psychological skills that impinge on the interactive process of working with another person and getting to know oneself better, as well as being perceptive and accepting relative to the other person you're dealing with.
And Karen, when do these classes begin again?
I don't think it's till fall.
Till fall. Okay.
The specialty counseling classes are probably offered as their 5-week classes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The other courses that are required for the diploma, and I think that the chart calculation at least is going to be offered in the summer term, but that's something that you can take at any level. Chart calculation is a really important part of studying astrology, just in terms of understanding all of the patterns and the movement of the planets. So that's another one that is required. And astronomy for astrologers also offered once a year. That one, I believe, starting in the fall term. Mary, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's another one it's really fascinating topic that you do need to have in order to round out your studies. So in terms of required, those are ones that you want to take a look at as well. So I don't want to forget about those. And I noticed that Will is here. We talked about the Astrology of Healing certificate a little bit, Will, but you might be better equipped to speak to that if you want to say about that particular program.
Will, you're on mute.
There. Sure, I'd love to. Thanks, Mary. We just had our final course of the certificate program only moments ago, which is why I'm a little late getting into the house. But the Astrology of Healing certificate works essentially at the intersectionality of care models with astrology. And I look at it as a transdisciplinary engagement of skills, knowledge, and abilities to provide care for others. And in the Astrology of Healing, we look at the history. We start off with the history of what was done in the world prior to our modern era. How does astrology fit into perspectives around herbal practice, procedurals, the old-time cupping or surgical procedures and timing of these things are all obviously part of that conversation. But we also do a broad survey of all those disciplines in the care systems that can be well informed by the astrological consideration. And so, in particular, assessments on the basis of humors, hot, cold, moist, and dry, are particularly amenable because when that was the worldview of science and medicine, the humors of hot, cold, moist, and dry, which is true for Chinese medicine, it's true for Ayurvedic medicine, and it was true in the Western tradition all the way up until the Enlightenment or the late Renaissance period is when it really started to fold hard. But those practices are extremely well informed by the astrological consideration because they're completely coherent. And this was true for Jung's practice. That's how he approached it in his whole conversation about alchemy. So we're looking at how this practice developed in the world. Where was it preeminent? Why was it preeminent? And how is it that knowledge might be useful for us today in our various practices? So I think we'll leave it there at that. Donna?
All right.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. All right. We have Astrology Day 2026. That is happening on the spring equinox, March 21st, 9 a.m. Pacific time. The theme is stepping into a new cosmic era. For this particular Astrology Day event, we have two panels, and we have Will Morris, Lori Barnes, and myself, Marie O'Neill. We will be the MCs for the different panels. Will, you are the MC for the big cycles, big shifts, a mundane perspective. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. We've got some fantastic panelists on that day. Jose Redondo, who's looking at it from perspectives of Neoplatonism and Proclus and so forth. Beres Ilhan, who was a former city planner over in the Mid East, and she's specializing in Islamic and Ottoman mundane astrological techniques. And then, of course, Christine Skinner, who's a master of financial astrological considerations. She'll be looking at some solar rhythms and planetary cycles and so forth. Bill Meridian, also a financial astrologer, and actually, I remember when I met Bill, he had received the award for top silver trading in Wall Street based on astrological techniques and also stock trading, both areas. And anyway, he'll be looking at predictive power of eclipses and so forth. Lynn Bell, master astrologer, and she's looking at the intersection of individual and collective cycles. And then my particular interest, of course, is in the area of the Jupiter-Saturn cycle and the grand mutations thereof, which we just saw one in 2000 from Earth to air. And here we are in this massive AI development.
I love it.
We have a question coming up. I don't know if you deal with those as they form.
Oh yeah. Do you have Greek mythology and Jungian psychology? That's the one you saw?
Yeah, that's what showed up in front
Courses.
of me.
Okay. All right, Donna, would you like to answer that?
Well, Inga teaches a mythology class. We don't have a Jungian psychology class, but there is a mythology class. Inga, I don't know. Oh, Inga had to leave, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember how often it's offered. Do you remember, Mary?
That's once a year.
Once a year, yeah. We've got a few, another question that I wanted to address here. One that I meant to answer in the chat, but I mismanaged it, that we do not do referrals for people to get readings, just so you know. Eventually we will be opening up a student center where you can get readings from our students, but at this time we do not offer that. And someone else is asking, how many courses do you recommend for a student at a time? Most people just take one course per term. Here's the thing that we haven't talked about, and that's how much time it takes to take a course. So each course is 2 hours of actual live class time. And then most of our courses, you're going to need about 8 to 10 hours of study and reading and homework, because all of our courses, you have to do homework, you have to do quizzes, you have to do written assignments. And, you know, there's a practicum at the end of all of our certificates. So you have to be prepared for that. So that's going to depend on your own ability to read and absorb the information. We've had students take as many as 3 or 4 classes in a term, but that's the exception. Most students will only take 1 or 2 classes per term. I mean, you can do 2, like a 5-week and a 5-week back to back, but not more than 10 weeks of study in a term is the usual path. So it takes you about 3 to 4 years to complete your diploma. So yeah, it's going to depend on your own normal learning abilities. I think
there's one here on what type of financing
do you
offer?
I saw that one. So we don't actually offer financing per se. If you register, if you go to pay for your class, you can defer payments, so you can have some deferred payments. We do offer a scholarship once a year. It's already closed for the spring term, but if you get ahead of it for the summer term, you can apply for scholarship through there. So that is an option. But yeah, because we're not an accredited school in that sense, we don't get government financing. So you can't apply for funding.
Perfect. And did you answer the astronomy for astrologers when it's, okay, it's on there. Okay. Starts every winter. Cindy put that in there. Perfect. All right. So we, of course, for the second panel for astrology days, we're actually talking about the state of the business. What's going on now? We've got AI here. How is it changing the business? We have Margaret Cahill, Frank Clifford, Stephanie Johnson, Sam Reynolds, and Kay Taylor, who will be talking about the state of the business of astrology. We have free webinars that will be taught, and our webinars are legendary. We have Venus Morningstar. As a matter of fact, Tamara, would you like to talk about these webinars? Tamara's still here.
Actually, no, there we go. Actually, it would be better if Lori did, but Lori's not here, unfortunately. Um, they're certainly interesting. I've signed up for them. I want to listen to them. I want to listen to these speakers. There's some great speakers. April Elliott Kent has been doing wedding dates and wedding charts for absolute years. I have known April probably 25 years or something. I mean, she's an incredible astrologer, incredible at choosing wedding dates. And if anyone has ever tried to choose wedding dates, you know how hard that is. There is no perfect date. It's like, what's what's the best of the evils? I don't know. It's hard to do that. So that's going to be an incredible webinar that I will be listening to. I've heard April in the past as well. I've read her books and all that kind of stuff. So that's exciting. Juno, the asteroids seem to be really having a comeback. I've seen a lot of asteroid work coming up, and we actually do have some asteroid stuff in the future coming up, some big stuff on asteroids. So this is going to be interesting. The power broker of 2026, Juno, well, she knows how to count money, so that's fantastic. I mean, that's a fantastic subject matter. And of course, Venus, the morning star or evening star, what's your phase? I'm not sure if you pronounce her name. Is it Julia? Julia? Something like that. Julia.
Okay.
Again, she does a lot of writing. I believe she's actually out of Australia and, very well known in the industry as well. And I've signed up to this one as well because I want to hear what she's got to say about Venus, the morning star. So I think it's going to be 3 great webinars coming up. And what it does is it gives you a little bit of taste of who this person is that the speaker is. And, oftentimes we do try to do classes with them afterwards. It depends on the subject matter and how busy they are. But certainly, I think these are ones to be signing up to.
Perfect. Thank you. And of course, we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where the webinar recordings are there. We have monthly astrological forecasts. We have Leaders in Astrology interviews, the Mystery Chart series, Let's Talk Astrology series. We have a Let's Talk Astrology business, Let's Talk Astro Mapping, Astro Myths. We also have a Hellevision series, and we have a Toastmasters showcase. This is a fantastic, the YouTube channel, if you're not there, if you're not subscribed, please do. You will love it. And we have the Toastmasters Club that if a lot of astrologers have to give talks. Even if you're not giving a talk out in public and you're talking to a client, this Toastmasters helps you to build your self-confidence. It helps you to be able to think on your feet and actually speak on your feet, because there's a table topics where you're given a topic and you don't know what the topic is ahead of time, and you have to speak on it for up to 2 minutes. That will help you to learn to think on your feet and speak on your feet. You expand your astrological network also. Donna, would you like to speak to Toastmasters at all?
I mean, you've done a pretty good job with it.
Okay.
Certainly understanding the premise of Toastmasters. We sponsor this group. It's not a KeplerCollege group per se. We're just a sponsor of it, but we've certainly seen a lot of people come through that program and come on to do webinars with us and find their way in the astrological community, speaking at conferences. So we're seeing a lot of success through that program that we really started because we found that there were so many really brilliant astrologers out there who were not good presenters. So this is to help you develop that skill. And like you said, Marie, whether you're presenting at a conference, as an astrologer, unless you're primarily doing research and writing, if you're a consulting astrologer, you still need to speak. So regardless of what your goal is, it's a good one.
Absolutely. And the Uranian Astrology Group, Can you, Donna, or someone else speak to that group?
That sounds like a Will topic.
That's a Will topic. Will.
There we go. Hi. Yeah, the Uranian group. Uranian astrology is making a resurgence after having been impaled by classicism and traditionalism and their translational works and recurrences ever since the 90s with Project Hindsight. We saw a decline in interest in Uranian astrology, and that is resurging. There are new books being published. Gary Kristen is a major Uranian astrologer who's got a book coming out fairly soon. And yes, Francine, this group has fantastic lectures and meetings. They meet once a month, and and the lectures are amazing. And furthermore, they have the catalog of all the last years. And when you join the group, you can get access to that information. So I think that Uranian has a powerful place in the world today, and it's well worth getting exposed to this conceptual frame.
Perfect. Thank you. We
real quick.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Uranian astrology. What is Uranian astrology? It came up out of the Weimar Republic in Germany, and it was an attempt to scientize the astrological practice, if you will, and caused a resurgence and became the basis of a lot of medical astrological practices because there was many physicians involved in the group. And I think we'll probably leave it there. There's a great deal of emphasis on midpoint structures, especially in the cosmobiological form of it. There's a whole lot, but you know what? You can, Beth, it's super inexpensive. You just go in there and check it out, and you know, every presentation somebody's giving a definition of what it is, and definitions of disciplines and practices are always an emergent phenomenon, and it's impossible to really capture it here in just a few words. But back over to you, Marie.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Will. We have our book club, which is on Facebook. You can find it at www.facebook.com/groups. This is where we do a monthly Q&A discussion. We do discussions with astrologers. And would either Mary or...
Mary leads this group.
Mary leads this group. Okay, Mary, would you like to speak to this? Mary?
Sure, yeah. I am the leader of the book club. Sorry, I'm furiously popping links into the chat to keep up. So this is we select a title one a month, and this month's book is Geodetics by Chris McRae, and I will be having a live Q&A discussion via live stream on YouTube with Ariel Gutman. Chris McRae has passed away, but Ariel will be teaching the Geodetics Masterclass and uses this book for her class. So it's a really great entry point into a lot of these topics, and you get to join the Facebook group and read along with all the members, and we have discussion posts every week to thoughtfully assimilate the material that we're reading. And then you get to attend the live stream. If you like and subscribe to our Kepler YouTube channel, you'll get a notification immediately as soon as we go live, and you can join and ask questions in real time of the astrologers. Last month was Rod Chang. We discussed his book on comets. It was fantastic. And before that was Andrea Gertz, a faculty member for Kepler, talking about her book Astral Somatica. So we really have an opportunity to engage directly with the authors of these fantastic books and really high-level astrologers. So I encourage everyone to click the link and request to join our book club group on Facebook and catch our next live stream.
I was excited to think you were channeling Chris McRae, but I guess Ariel will do it.
That's fantastic. So, Donna, would you like to talk about the school spirit store?
This is just a place for you to get all things Kepler. So we've got some great little Kepler products. So you can get, we've got a lot of items in our store that have our table of essential dignities on it, which I personally find particularly handy. But certainly if you want to just promote Kepler College or have your Kepler College branded cup, or I have a cell phone case that I find really handy, then you can just go to the Spirit store. So please go there. We don't make, we make pennies off of this, but it's still a fun way to have your paraphernalia. Tamara's holding up, what is that, your iPad cover? Yeah. Oh, her mouse pad. Yeah. So there's different little things in there, but for sure, check it out. Redbubble.com. Right. Yeah.
For more information, of course, you want to go to www.KeplerCollege.org. You can also go to the store, which is www.store.KeplerCollege.org. And we have the Kepler College online classrooms where you can look at those, www.KeplerClasses.org. You can find us, of course, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You can email us, of course, at hello@KeplerCollege.org.
Yeah. There's another question in here about whether we have a physical premise, and we do not. We're entirely online, and so yeah, you have to join us via Zoom or check us out on our YouTube channel. And I think one of the questions was about whether our astrology day was going to, whether it would be recorded. It will be recorded. You'll be able to find the recording of that, and all of our webinars will end up eventually on the YouTube channel.
And okay, so someone said briefly, what is the history of Kepler? Who founded
that's
it
a great
and
question.
when?
So we are in the middle. I mean, this is a great thing to bring up right now because we're actually celebrating our 25th anniversary. So we had started in, the underpinnings of it. I don't know, Carol, you've been here the whole time. I don't know if you want to talk about that early history.
Yes, well, it started in somebody's living room with some astrologers around it that, hey, we need to have a school. And that was 25 years ago. And we started having students live in 2000. And the first group, the 4 years, got BA degrees in 2004.
Yeah, so we were offering BA and master's level education for the first decade. And we had degree granting status, but we never ever did end up getting fully accredited. And so after that decade was up, we switched over to our current model, the certificate model. And so a lot of the faculty continued to teach. Well, there was a few people in particular, Karen, who was here, Carol, who was here, and Enid Newberg, who still teaches a lot of classes with us, that were really instrumental in holding the college together and holding the vision and making sure that we had something to hold on to for future generations. So we owe a huge debt of gratitude to those three ladies. And we've just taken what they started and developed it. So we've got so many more offerings than what we did then. But we continue to offer beyond the fundamental certificate and growing and offering new products that we hope are appealing to the larger astrological population. But other than that, we just continue to expand our certificate offerings, but the diploma remains pretty much the same as it was when we started the certificate program. And we did have an office in Seattle at one point, but now we're just entirely online. Mm-hmm.
Which is perfect for people who are international or
exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yes, Mary did put in there about NORWAC.
Yeah, we'll be at NORWAC this year in Seattle, and we'll be at UAC in Chicago. So if you're going to any of those astrology conferences, look for us there.
Absolutely. All right. We do thank you, everyone who has, taken the time to come and learn about Kepler College and meet some of the instructors and meet some of the leaders who head up the certificate programs. We, of course, look forward to seeing you in our spring term or summer term, because we do have 4 terms a year. And so we love that you're here. Please email us and ask questions, come to the free webinars, ask us questions. And yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Marie, for presenting all of this to everyone. Really appreciate your efforts as well.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Have a wonderful Saturday, and hope to see you everybody either tomorrow morning in one of the master classes, or next Saturday at Astrology Day.
Yeah. Fun. Thanks.
All right.